Hi, this is Anna Imagination with Shifting Perspectives and the Healing Garden. Thank you so much for joining me. I I love going through realignments, reassessments. There's when you heal, it's literally a picking up the pieces. You are literally just going through your subconscious mind, your identity. You're going through everything that you are, all of the internal workings, and you are finding all of the crumbs and all of the parts and pieces of you that were taken away from you. So it's a process. It's you're done healing, and the trauma is processed, and then all that's left at the very end is just figuring out your name. It's the naming. I love the naming. I've been in the naming now for 6 months. And the first, I have four stages that I call it. It's the first one is the knowing. And that's when you know who you are. That's finally when you realize your defined core of who you are. So that when someone comes along and throws a perspective at you, you can go, that's not my aligned thing. Sorry, not sorry. That's not for me. That's the knowing. It's when you can recognize something and you know if it's part of you or not. And then the belonging, and this is big. This is a huge part of it, is knowing where you belong. What community is yours? What community fits you? Not which community will accept you, but which community is yours. And there's a different mindset when you're looking for a belonging, when you're traumatized and when you're mentally sick. You're looking all over the place for someone to accept you. And this is different. This is, I'm me and I'm going to establish me, and then I'm going to build a community around me, and the people who love me will come to me. That's the belonging. And then you have a family around you because they have chosen you, not because you have chosen them, not because you have not because you're settling for just anyone who will take you. That's the belonging. When you realize that you do have a home, that you do have a family, and it's centered around who you are. It's the difference between having a lot of friends and setting up a birthday party and no one shows up versus having a lot of friends, you throw a party and people show up. That's the difference. That's the belonging. And then there is the authority. And the authority is when you take back your authority, when you are in the authority and you have the ability to throw it down and challenge somebody to defend yourself. It's the ability to utilize your own internal power and control over your life to interact with people your way, to do what you want with your life. And if someone comes along and judges you, no, no, we don't do that. It's the authority, it's taking responsibility, and it's setting boundaries and enforcing what you've built internally. It's very much linked to communication and setting up that boundary. And then the last one is the naming. It's when you identify all of the parts of you. Having them, feeling them is not the same as identifying them. And this morning I had a realization. I was laying in bed and I had a shift, compliments of the Mercury retrograde, on this weekend. And I feel different. I found a part of me. It's always been there, but this time I claimed it. There's a difference between feeling a part of you, going, oh, yeah, that's over there, versus, no, you are one of us now. And that's what it is. I found this part of me that's been there my whole life. It's the anarchist. That's its name. That's its name. And I could feel it there. And it's like, okay, yeah, I have a bit of an anarchy in me. Yeah. And I didn't claim it. I just felt it and I acknowledged it like, yep, I know you're there. I have the potential. I have the potential to be a feminist. I have the potential to like grab pitchforks and take down the government. I can see that, but it's just recognizing the potential. And then there's the next stage where it's, oh no, oh no, 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 no. You are definitely part of me. I claim you. I'm adopting you. And it's literally when you adopt yourself, it's when you take it back. And I should have seen it. 8 years old, standing in front of every man in my entire family. extended and in immediate. And I went, it's wrong to kill animals, die. Like I'm an anarchist. Like I challenge people openly without any consequence. Like the consequence does not occur to me. The only thing that matters, the only thing that occurs to me is it right? That's the only thing in the forefront of my brain. Is it right? Is it right to stay silent? Is it right to do nothing? Is it right to pretend that nothing's happening? And for me, this is not even an option. This is a solid. There is no is it right, or there is no should I. No concern for my safety. There is no concern for my safety. It is all about, is it right? If it's right, okay, we do it. Let's go. And then there is this, once you claim it, once you go, okay, you're going to be a part of me, the naming it is a whole nother thing. The naming it is the declaring. By the way, if you're into manifestation, you know what I've done. In manifestation, there's you name it, you claim it, you declare it. And the first time I heard that, my psych brain went, whoa, there's a lot in those words. Do you guys know what you're doing? And a lot of people don't know what they do. They have no idea. And I could talk about this in manifestation. I need to just do a manifestation podcast. I just need to do like a whole, let's talk about manifestation. Yeah, maybe I should. Maybe I should do a manifestation podcast where that's all I talk about. But yeah, it's very much the naming, the claiming, and the declaring. Naming it is going, I see you. You could potentially be a part of me. That's the naming. And then in manifestation, that's the naming, not in my psych stuff. And then the claiming it is adopting it. It's making it your own. Declaring it is giving it name, is giving it a title. And that's what I did this morning is I gave my anarchy a title. And I went, okay, I am an anarchist. Let me first look this up to make sure it means what I think it means. And I looked it up and it does. It does. I'm very, very happy with the definition. It fits me. And I looked up all of the definitions and I am a pacifist. I need to emphasize that. I am a pacifist and I'm an anarchist. I am not going to be the one to do anything violent. I will not. Gandhi is my fucking hero. I love that man. And it starts with talking. It really starts with talking. I'm leading a revolution. And that's where I'm at. Like, yeah, I'm planning on doing events later to bring this, to raise awareness. I plan on doing shit. That's why I'm in New York City. Like I don't stay silent. I don't stay placated. I don't do that. When I see that there's a problem with this fucking society, I step in, but I say, this isn't okay. It isn't fucking okay. In between the narcissists and white supremacists, they walk all over everybody. I was one of them that got walked all over. And it's just, yeah. I'm not afraid. I'll tell you, I love Rodney. Caesar Rodney. Let me tell you about Caesar Rodney. I'm going to give you a history lesson. Caesar Rodney was the delegate from Delaware. Wait, that was not. Well, yes, Caesar Rodney was the delegate from Delaware. But I'm talking about Rutledge. That's who I'm talking about. Let me look up Rutledge. He was the delegate. I don't know where he was from. Let me look. Yeah, I'm totally going back to 1776. Rutledge, Colonel Rutledge. John Rutledge. There we go. John Rutledge. Where are you, you beautiful man? I loved Rutledge. Oh, this was all about me figuring out which state was his. Was he from? He was not from Rhode Island. Yes, he was from Rhode Island. Yes, he was from Rhode Island. Okay. Let me just confirm this. Nope, he's from South Carolina. I'm confusing my delegates. I can't remember the one. He was the delegate from Rhode Island. That's all I can tell you. Yeah, I cannot remember his name. This really bothers me that I cannot remember his name. Anyway, this man was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. He's the one who is known for standing up right at John Hancock's desk so that when every man signed the document, the Declaration of Independence, he could memorize the faces of every man who signed. I love the men who founded this country. they would fucking hate this country now. But I love the men who they are my people. I absolutely relate. I could talk for hours on 1776. I'm not going to. The Battle of Culloden had happened 20 years prior in Scotland. And the English's response to it was to take whomever, didn't matter if they were involved in the conflict or not in the war, and they sent them to prison, killed them, or sent them to America. They banned the speech, they banned the language, the Scottish language, and they banned the wearing of plaids. They literally attempted to wipe out the culture. Well, the ones they sent to America turned right around and started a revolution. Quite a few people most of the people who were involved in the American Revolution were the Scots who had lost the Battle of Culloden. And they retaliated against the English. First you suppress us, you slaughter us, you then wipe us out with the Battle of Culloden, and then you ship me to America? Oh, I'm taking this land for myself. And they did. There's a lot of Scotsmen, and it's so funny because one of the Scots was renowned for wearing a kilt in America, which was against the law. They weren't supposed to be wearing plaids. And he's one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. Like, it's a total fuck you. And this is the best part. If you go back and you look at the actual literature that came out of Scotland 20 years prior, it's identical to all of literature that came out of America in the 1700s. Like, it does not take rocket science. When you study the Battle of Culloden and then you study everything from 1776, it's like, this is just a rebellion of the Scots coming back saying, fuck you. I love my people. I am of McFarland. That is my family name, McFarland. And they are from the Loch Lomond, which is, you take the high road and I take the low road. And I'll be in Scotland before thee, for you and my true love will never meet again at the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. That is where my family is from. And that song was written according to legend. My God, I love my Scotland. Oh my God, do I love my culture. That was written by Scots who were supposedly taken to prison for execution after the Battle of Culloden. Now, the McFarlands were not part of the conflict. They were neutral, and it did not fucking matter. They took the castle, destroyed it, ruined it, and sent the people to South Carolina, regardless. And it really fucking pissed me off because they weren't part of the conflict. They were one of the families to remain neutral. And it didn't matter. So, all that being said, yeah, I have a lot of anarchy in my blood. And it was this delegate from Rhode Island. They were taking a roll call, and it was when they wanted to discuss and vote on just discussing independence from England. And it had been proposed many times before. No, it had not been. John Adams had been trying to get this proposed, to even talk about independence. So they were split down the middle. Half the delegates said, no, we're not talking about it. The other half said, yes, we're going to talk about it. It came down to this one man. He came in and he said, in all my life, I have never met a conversation or a topic that was so damned dangerous that we couldn't even talk about it. Oh, hell yeah, I'm for debating anything. Let's discuss it. And so it opened the discussion and the debate, finally, for them to talk about independence from England. This was done in 1775. It was my favorite line, like, of everything I've ever heard. I've never met a conversation that's been so dangerous that we couldn't even talk about it. That says a lot. And yeah, it took me 14 minutes and all of those stories and a song to get to this point. I'm in one of those moods. There's very little I won't talk about. And what bothers me is I remember the fear of talking about topics that I was told, oh, we don't talk about that. Talking really truly is dangerous. That's why we have fear. Because people don't want to hear things. They don't want to hear truths. They don't want to think about certain things. Everyone is trying to avoid something. I'm avoiding things. I won't talk about those. The things that I won't talk about are that fucking horrible. I don't want to talk about it. But then there's all these other things. And I'm going, yeah, let's talk about them. Let's talk about them. And it's extraordinary. When you open up the door just to talk about it, when you give name to something, you are confronted with a choice. Once you name it, now you have to do something about it. Because if you avoid it, you can claim ignorance. That's a safe space. When you don't talk about it, you can pretend you don't know about it. You can pretend, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. But the minute it comes out and it's in front of you, now you've got to make a choice. Now, things are going to get uncomfortable. Once you have to make the choice, once you have to decide, you can't put it back. Now you're deliberately avoiding. Now you're deliberately ignoring. Now you're deliberately sweeping it under the rug. Now you are consciously avoiding. And for a lot of people, that changes the game. How much longer can you ignore a problem before it's in your face? So I'm all about naming, because the sooner you name it, the sooner you claim it, the sooner you adopt it and you decide to address it. They say that awareness is the first stage of change, and it's so not true. Education is the first stage of change. Becoming educated. Then you have to become humble. You have to really feel humility. Then you can change it. I would put awareness right after education. My sister is treated like shit by her partner. She's not educated because she doesn't know any different. Parents raise children all the time. They get their perfect little houses and their perfect little everythings and their perfect white fences. And then the child hits adulthood. And suddenly you have a daughter who is subjected to domestic violence, and children who are in drugs, and you get pregnant teenagers. And you think back and you go, I don't understand it. I had a perfect little house with a perfect little wife. What happened? What happened? In order to maintain your perfect delusion, you had to destroy everyone's identity and suppress everyone to get it. And when you suppress people's identity, the identity rebels. We're all anarchists. How well the rebellion gets suppressed is completely dependent upon how abusive the suppressor is. I remember so many times hearing these white cis supremacist men boasting about how orderly their home was, bragging over how well they maintained their home. which was white cis man talk for I'm a terrorist and I'm proud of it. Domestic terrorism. I told you, I talk about the hard shit. Domestic terrorism is when you make your wife and your children too fucking afraid to even open their mouths in your presence. Domestic terrorism is when your wife and your children literally have a choreographed dance of behavior around you to placate your temper. And then there's the lies that we tell ourselves. The lies to make us think that we're the victims. Let me try some new words for you. That domesticated terrorist is actually terrified. Absolutely fucking terrified. And they have no idea how or why. They live in a heart of darkness. In their minds, they are at war. And they can see nothing else but danger. So the best way to control danger is to organize danger. And everything has been labeled a threat. They live in a delusion of war. That is what a narcissist is. They live in a delusion of war. And in their minds, they truly are surrounded by constant danger. Because the danger to them is not controlling. The danger to the rest of the world is being controlled. But the narcissist is different. The narcissist learned that if you aren't controlling a situation, then you are in danger. So their solution cannot be isolation. Everybody else can do that. Everybody else does that, but not the narcissist. When the narcissist is isolated, they feel the most threatened because they can't control. So they surround themselves with people so they can puppet everybody, so they can feel their control. Then they feel safe. So yeah, in their minds, they are very much a victim. And they are. They are a victim of themselves. Their mind is what's doing it. People love to turn narcissists into bad guys. Now, I am not saying that they don't need distance, space, boundaries, and you get the fuck away from them. I will say 1,000,000 times over, they are suffering. They are suffering. And there is very little hope for them because they reject the emotion humility. When a narcissist feels humility, that's when they change. But unlike everybody else has had humility thrown down their throat and they accept it. But humility was used to torture the mind of a narcissist. Every narcissist had humility used as a tool, a weapon against them. So they associate humility with danger. The very thing they need to humble themselves so they can help, so they can get help, they associate with a threat. Imagine a therapist. Psychology, education is literally your trigger. That's how a narcissist lives. In addition to the I'm not safe unless I control. Well, I need people to control, so I need people. That's why a narcissist says, I need you. Yo, yeah, I know you think you need me. Every fucking narcissist thinks that they need everybody. They do. They need their puppet show. So I'm laying in bed this morning and I'm feeling out the word anarchist. And I'm going, I'm ready to accept this part of me now. And I did. And I claimed it. And I'm going, all right, I am an anarchist. I will add this to the list of my names. What does that mean? It means that I don't have to be afraid anymore. It means that I don't have to suppress that part of me. Now I can claim it and put it out there. And what's funny is when you suppress it, when you don't acknowledge it, it kind of seeps out on its own, which is why I have things like Zen BDSM and predator dating and all the other podcasts that I have down there under here, is because that anarchist in me was being suppressed. And here's the thing, words are difficult. If you don't have the right ones, you can't define, you can't validate, you can't name, you can't claim. You get stuck in processing. Communication unstucks your processing. And I felt it. I felt it this morning when I went, I'm an anarchist. I just felt the processing, click, 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 click. And I went, ah, there it is. And then I just laid there and went, yep, I am an anarchist. I think that was the last piece. I think that was the piece of me that I was rejecting, that I was resisting. Now my question is, why was I resisting it? Why do we resist any parts of ourselves? Because we view it as the most dangerous. I am digging out shit in my brain that's been there since I was 4 years old. There is nothing past 4 years old. There's New York City past 4 years old. I remember Manhattan. At 4 years old, I remember swinging on the doors of the Twin Towers playing. I have memories of me playing with the Twin Towers. I have memories of New York City before 4 years old. That's all I remember. I do remember a waterfall at Buttermilk Falls in the camping in the forest. And I remembered it was pouring rain the entire weekend. And I loved it. But my parents said, no, we're going home. And I'm like, why? Anarchist. Anarchist. Like, why? No, we stay. This is the real experience. Oh, I love camping in the rain. Oh my God, do I love camping in the rain. It's my favorite thing. Yeah. I think I manifest rain every time I go camping, because every time I go camping, it rains. Every time. I've had people be like, okay, we're not taking you because it rains. So when you do your healing, it's try writing it down. This is something I wish I had done. Write down every little weird quirk about yourself. And I remember my first one was hippie. That was the very first one. I had no idea I was hippie. I had no fucking idea. I was so forced conformist that I had no idea what was inside the package. And when it first came out, I was like, they were dreams. They were wishes. My dreams and my wishes were actually me just wanting my identity back. Did you hear what I just said? Your dreams and your wishes are just you wanting yourself back. It's not your future. It's your past and your present. When you dream and when you wish, it's never your future that you're longing for. It's your present. It's your past. If you dream of traveling the world, you're a traveler. And you haven't been. That's why you're in pain. If you dream of wearing a certain style of clothes, if you dream of being a cosplayer, but you don't, and you wish and you wait, you're a cosplayer, but you're not realizing it. This is why in my self-care regimen, I have people do bucket lists. This is why. This is why. I always dreamed about having the courage to step up to people and say, that's not right. Because I'm an anarchist. I always had the dream to wear the clothes that I am now wearing. I used to pine to listen to Enya. I wasn't allowed. Everything that could have been dictated for me was. I mean, we're talking full, total identity suppression, which is why, as an anarchist, I'm so loud about it. You need to be yourself. And then I see these people, and I see them shaking. Some of them have suppressed themselves so much that they shake because they're aching to burst out. Some of them stutter. I was one of them. Because when you suppress yourself that much, it's a mental war of you just containing and putting your own identity into a box. And then you pull them out, and they have the ability and the freedom and the space to be themselves. I wonder if every time a person stutters, if that isn't their subconscious mind forcing them to be conformists. I wonder. The thing is, we're all anarchists. Anyone who has ever needed healing because they don't fit into a fourth perspective is an anarchist to some degree. So yeah, I'm in the business of saying what no one else is saying, pulling people by the hand and bringing them out of their own darkness into the light. And it isn't spiritual. It's psychology. Sixth perspectives thinks it's spiritual. Seventh and eighths, it's authentic. For more shit like this, subscribe to my YouTube channel. For even more shit like this, subscribe to my amphitheater where I take my soapbox and I speak. And if you cannot get enough shit like this, become a member of the Healing Garden and unlock Journey into the Self and get my masterclasses, Power into the Self. Thank you so much, and may the kindest of words always find you.